Types of resources. We have three types of resources here: natural resources, human-made resources, and human as a resource. Now, the first one here is natural resource. Now, what is this natural resource? Now, we can see here these resources, we get it from nature. Okay, so it is called as natural resources. And the resources which we are getting from nature and which we are using it without making any change, or we can say without any modification. Modification means change. It is called as natural resources. Okay, now say for example, we have air, water, soil, minerals, etc. So these are the examples of natural resources. And these resources are free gifts of nature. Okay, it is a gift from nature and we use it directly, right? Now, sometimes the resources that we get from nature, if we want to use it properly or use it in best manner, then we require technology here. Okay, we require technology, or we can use certain tools to make proper and better utilization of such resources. Okay, so these are called as natural resources. Now see here, under natural resources, we have further categories. One is level of development and use. In this we have two. One is actual resources, another one is potential resources. And second one is on the basis of origin, we have biotic resources, abiotic resources. Then on the basis of stock, we have renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Then on the basis of distribution, we have ubiquitous and localized resources. Okay, now we are going to study in depth about the categories of natural resources. The first one, see, level of development and use, right? Now under this we have actual resources and potential resources. Now we will see here what is the difference between actual and potential resources. Now when we say actual resources, now these resources are, okay, so I'll write here actual resources. So actual resources are those resources whose quantity is known and we are using such resources at present. Using at present. So what does it mean here now? Okay, so actual resources, how much quantity we have, we know it, and also at present we are using it. So such resources are called as actual resources. Now we have some few examples here. West Asia. In West Asia, petroleum, right? It is given in your book. And in Germany, there is a region called as Ruhr region. In that, resources available is coal. Okay, so actual resources, petroleum and coal. Whereas potential resources are those resources whose quantity is not known. Okay, so I'll write it here. Whose quantity is not known and we are not using at present. So we are not using at present, but in future, right? Such potential resources can be used. Is that clear? Okay, so I repeat, potential resources are those resources whose quantity we don't know, how much we have. Such resources we don't know, okay? And we are not using such resources at present, but in future, these resources can be used. Is that clear? Okay. So, as I said, at present, we are not using such resources, right? Now, there is a question. Why we are not using potential resources at present? What is the reason behind it? Now, the reason is that we don't have proper technology. We don't have proper technology to make use of such resources. That's why we are not able to use it at present. Okay, now we have seen what is this technology before. Okay, now there is one example here, uranium, which is given in your book. Uranium is a potential resources, and this is found in Ladakh, right? It is found in Ladakh. Now, this uranium is a metal. All right, this is a metal. And what is the use of this one? It is used to make weapons. Is that clear? It is used to make weapons. Now what is happening? See here, as nowadays, what the countries are doing is, this potential resources, uranium, by using uranium, now the countries are developing weapons. We can say developing weapons. Is that clear? So in earlier days, this uranium is a potential resources. Is that clear? But now what is happening, as I said before, countries are developing weapons by using uranium. So at present, such potential resources are used by the countries. Okay, one thing. And then another example of potential resources is wind. Right. Okay. Now, wind is a potential resources before, but now this wind has become an actual resource here, right? So earlier days, wind was, as I said before, potential resources, which means that it was not used before. Now this one has become actual resources. Now we can see so many wind farms having wind mill, and this windmill helps in generating energy. Okay, so earlier this wind is a potential resources. Now it has become an actual resources here. Is that clear? Okay. Then next one we have origin. On the basis of origin, we have biotic and abiotic. Now this is very simple. So what is the difference between these two? Biotic resources means biotic and abiotic resources, right? Now biotic, it is living. Abiotic, it is non-living, right? So living means having life, and here no life. Now it's very simple. We can give here examples. Biotic, having life. So in this, plants and animals, right? These things, they have life. They are living things. Abiotic, no life. Say for example, resources such as soil, rocks, etc. Rocks. Example of abiotic resources, because these one are non-living. They will come in the category of non-living. Okay. And then we have, on the basis of stock, we have two, renewable and non-renewable resources. Now, what is the difference between these two? Renewable resources and non-renewable resources. So, renewable and non-renewable resources. This one, renewable resources are those resources which can be renewed or replenished. Okay. We can say, what is the meaning of renewed here? It means that we can have it again and again. Renewed means we can have it again and again. Okay. So when we say replenished, it means which is not going to exhaust quickly. Right. So renewable resources, its quantity is more and obviously supply is also more. Or we can say its supply will not become less. So we will use another word here. Unlimited. It is unlimited. All right. Okay. So what is this? Renewable resources. Renewable resources are those resources which can be renewed, which means we can have it again and again, and which can be replenished, which means it will not be going to exhaust quickly. Now, see here, we can give some examples here of renewable resources. We have solar energy, solar. We have wind, right? Apart from it, we have here water resources, soil, forest resources. So all these things will come under renewable resources. Whereas non-renewable resources are those which are very limited. Okay. Stock. The stock of it is very limited. And such resources will become less. If we keep on using such resources, right, it will become less. And what will happen is it will get exhausted one day, which means it will finish one day. Is that clear? Okay, so such resources are called as non-renewable resources. Now, as I said, that if we are not using such resources properly, it will get exhausted, right? And to get these resources back, it will take lots of years, or we can say thousands of years, to get such resources back. Say for example, we have under non-renewable resources, we have coal, we have petroleum. The best example I will give here is petroleum. So this petroleum, where it is used in vehicles, it is used in transportation, it is used for transportation purpose. Right. So now what is happening here is nowadays we see lots of vehicles, right? And such vehicles are using petroleum, right? So if we are using this petroleum more, then as I said before, such resources are limited in stock. Right, so what happens is the quantity is depleting here if we are using more and more petroleum. Also, if we are not using this petroleum properly, cautiously, then what happens is future generation, they will face problem. As I said that it will get exhausted one day, right? So this is called as non-renewable resources. So renewable resources and non-renewable resources. So that is the difference between these two. And then we have distribution. On the basis of distribution, we have ubiquitous and localized. Ubiquitous means ubiquitous resources are those resources which are found everywhere. Okay, one example is water resources, air resources, right? Whereas localized resources are those resources which are found in one place. Okay, or we can say which are found only in some place is called as localized resources. Say for example copper, iron ore. Okay, so we will take up here copper, iron ore. I will take up only one example here, iron ore. Okay, so this iron ore, what is this iron ore? From here we get metal, iron. We get iron. We extract iron from iron ore. Okay, so actually these are rocks and minerals. Alright, from where we get iron. So this iron ore resources is localized in nature. That means it is not found everywhere. It is found at some particular places. So it is called as localized. Now these are the categories of resources.